But honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements where they say, I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe, I say either give it back or shut the fuck up. AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun.
Bill Maher just took a blowtorch to a group of woke elites, and he didn't hold back. These are the same people who claim to love America, yet everything they say and do drips with contempt for it. Maher wasn't having it. He dropped truth. Bombs so sharp they left the woke, left scorched and speechless. So what set him off this time, and how harsh was his takedown? Let's break it down. I've got all the receipts, and trust me, it gets fiery. Maher pointed out something that's hard to ignore these days. For all the talk about saving America's soul, it seems like plenty of people don't even like the country. Too many on the left act like America is nothing more than a giant red, white, and EWA nation they see as flawed from the start and doomed to always fall short. And Maher's first shot was aimed right at those liberal leaders who seem to hate the US so much, you'd think they believe we're the worst nation on earth. But it wasn't just their attitude that got under his skin. It was the damage he says they're doing to the next generation. Instead of teaching kids how to fix what's wrong, these so-called progressives are feeding them resentment, hopelessness, and disdain for their own country. And Maher warned, if young people grow up thinking America is beyond saving, what reason do they have to care about it, defend it, or try to make it better? That's what set him off. And what he said next left the whole room stunned.
That is what's so odd about this time that we're living in. For all the talk about fighting for the soul of America, nobody seems to like it very much. Too many liberals give the impression that to them, America is just a big, ugh. The red, white, and ew. A country that started out bad and will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of sucking.
Maher first takes aim at Cori Bush, and he doesn't pull any punches. To him, Bush and much of the progressive left have lost all sense of perspective. They're stuck in identity politics and caught up in constant self-criticism that does more harm than good. Maher argues their view of the world isn't rooted in facts anymore, but in feelings and fantasies that fit their ideology. They brush aside inconvenient truths and swap them out for narratives designed to fuel division and grievance. And the worst part, a lot of their big talk boils down to empty gestures, loud, symbolic moves that don't actually solve anything. The result, a generation misled, a country more divided, and a political movement too trapped in its own echo chamber to see the damage it's causing.
We have changed a lot. Democrat Cori Bush tweeted, "This land is stolen land and black people still aren't free." And this was on the 4th of July. Really? Not that I give a shit about the 4th of July. I've never been a rah-rah guy. But I am a perspective guy. And that's what too much of the left has lost, perspective. 72% of black people under 30 are optimistic about their future in America. Way more than white people the same age. And as far as the land goes, yes, I guess we could change the name of Captain America to Captain Stolen Land.
Maher's second truth bomb was designed to make the woke crowd squirm, and it did. He said, it's not enough to keep chanting that America is built on stolen land. If you truly believe the land was taken illegally, then stop with the empty gestures and give it back. Don't post land acknowledgements on social media or make dramatic statements while staying comfortable on the very ground you condemn. Maher called out the hypocrisy. You can't label your ancestors as criminals while enjoying the benefits of what they built and refusing to make any real sacrifice. That kind of performative guilt doesn't help anyone. It just feeds outrage theater. His challenge was simple. If you really believe what you're saying, act on it. If not, admit it's just another empty slogan in a cycle of selective moral outrage. And if you thought his takedown of Cori Bush was brutal, just wait until you hear what he said about AOC.net.
Honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements where they say, I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe, I say either give it back or shut the fuck up.
So you really have to wonder if AOC has any sense of what's happening outside her activist bubble? Sure, America isn't perfect, but let's be honest. Women here can vote, drive, own businesses, speak their minds, and dress how they choose without fear of being arrested. That's not just freedom, that's real power. Now, compare that to parts of the Middle East, where women are forced to cover up head to toe, need permission to leave home, and can be thrown in jail for taking off a hijab. So when AOC claims that America hates women, You have to ask, what world is she talking about? Her words ignore the brutal reality women face in many places and downplay the real rights and opportunities women have here. Maher argues this kind of talk doesn't just mislead, it's dangerous. It makes young people believe they're living in a nightmare, instead of seeing the progress and freedoms they actually have.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun.
Jamal Bowman and Bernie Sanders love to talk about fighting the oligarchy. But let's be real, their own party is packed with oligarchs. If they're serious about taking down elite control, maybe they should start by looking at the billionaires backing their side. Think about it. George Soros, Michael Bloomberg, and Reid Hoffman aren't just rich donors. They help shape policy, fund campaigns, and sway public opinion in a big way. Yet when Bowman and Bernie push their anti-capitalist message, they conveniently leave that part out. And that's exactly the hypocrisy Maher calls out. How can you rage against billionaires while standing on a stage paid for by them? If they truly want to challenge the oligarchy, they need to stop pretending it's only a problem on the other side. The truth is, both parties have their elites, but only one keeps acting like they're billionaires, are somehow the good guys.
Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is. But
exactly. If America is really as broken, cruel, and beyond saving as some claim, why are people around the world willing to risk everything just to get here? Why are families in Africa, Asia, and South America scraping together every penny, sometimes living on less than $1 a day for the chance to step foot on U.S. soil? They're not chasing a fantasy. They're chasing opportunity, freedom, and hope. That alone should say something. The loudest critics of this country often forget how the rest of the world sees it, not as a dystopia, but as a place of possibility. If America is so awful, why do migrants risk their lives crossing deserts, oceans, and borders to reach it? Maher's point is simple. Yes, America has flaws, but the ability to speak out against those flaws exists only because of the very freedoms this country provides, and that's the contradiction the woke crowd refuses to face.
again, something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through shit-colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable, privileged assholes we are? Immigrants.
Democrats really want to have a shot at winning in 2028. They need a serious wake-up call. America, for all its flaws, is not the hopeless dystopia they so often paint it to be. The endless negativity, the doom and gloom messaging, and the constant attacks on the country's history and values didn't work in 2024, and it cost them. Big voters saw through the self-loathing, the outrage for show, and the lectures. People weren't looking for pity, they were looking for pride. That's why they chose Trump. If Democrats want to turn things around, they need to show real, visible love for this country, not just in polished speeches, but through consistent action. Patriotism isn't outdated, it's what people expect. Americans want leaders who lift the nation up, not tear it down. The sooner Democrats realize that loving your country isn't at odds with progress, it's what makes progress possible. The sooner they can start winning back the trust they lost.
Ask any of them why they came here, and they will tell you the same thing. Ron DeSantis put me on a plane. But they will also tell you that America, for all that's so shitty about it right now, is still the last best hope. And those people asking for our votes to take it over should remember.
Maher didn't hold back when responding to an MSNBC pundit who claimed Kamala Harris just needed more time for voters to understand her before the last election. Maher flat out disagreed. He argued voters did get to know Harris, and that was the real issue, according to Maher. The problem wasn't lack of exposure, it was lack of connection. Harris's message didn't resonate because it often felt scripted, ideological, and disconnected from everyday life. Her policies, he said, weren't grounded in common sense or real-world experience. They sounded more like they came from a progressive think tank than from someone in touch with working Americans. What voters want, Maher insisted, isn't buzzwords or polished sound bites. They want clear, practical solutions. And the more they heard from Harris, the less confident they felt in her ability to lead. In his view, what she needed wasn't more time, it was a total political reboot.
I think you can believe that you could have shorter elections in America, but it's not like we don't know. In Britain, for instance, when you have a short election, it's not like you don't know who the leader of the party is for months and years before that.
But you're either the person who's Googling the day before, did Biden drop out, or you know in a week. You know, did anyone in this audience not know enough about Kamala Harris pretty much after a week to make a decision? Yeah, you just people.
How are
it's
you
ridiculous.
That?
We just get sicker of this.
Today, the woke left isn't just unappealing, it's become toxic. What may have started as a movement for justice and inclusion has turned into something self-righteous and joyless, draining the energy from the broader left. It's no longer about progress. It's about policing thought, silencing disagreement, and punishing anyone who dares to step even slightly out of line. Because of that, more and more voices, comedians, thinkers, lifelong liberals are walking away, not because they've turned conservative, but because they don't recognize the movement they once proudly stood with. The left that once preached tolerance now leads the charge in public shaming. The side that once fought for open dialogue now works to shut it down. Maher himself is proof of this shift. He's standing at the crossroads, sounding the alarm. The woke left hasn't just lost its appeal, it's lost its way. And people are leaving before it burns itself out completely. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. See you next time.